Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today you're joining me in something that is nothing short of ludicrous. It is a Mercedes Benz GLE63s, which is of course part of the AMG lineup within the Mercedes group. It's the 5.5 litre V8 bi-turboed engine, and it produces an enormous 585 brake horsepower. And it got offered to me by a trader that I deal with all the time, and the first time he offered it to me I was like, to be honest, I'd rather buy a couple of other bits that you've got over this. I think there's not going to be an enormous market for it or anything like that. So he's like, yeah, no problem at all. And then a couple of days later he comes to me again. He goes, you sure you don't want to take a look at it? He's been driving around himself. He goes, because it is a massive specification on this thing, and what tremendous car it is. And I thought, okay, yeah, I'll take a quick look. And I sat inside it and I thought, actually, it is an absolute beast of a car. And it almost brought me back to a little bit more of like a nostalgic of what a Petrolhead is. I think in 2017, before we had the agenda of a kind of electric vehicles or big engines being the absolute devil or anything like that, it kind of sang true through to true Petrolheads, and I do consider myself to be a Petrolhead, and just enormous fun. I mean, the soundtrack that this V8 gives you is amazing, with all the pops and bangs and everything like that. And what I also quite like as well, and I've noticed it in a fair few of the AMG products that we previously sold, is that Mercedes-Benz almost kind of had like a reserve of interior finishes and things like that, kind of to make you feel special for being a bit of a Petrolhead. And I think that really kind of it kind of brings you back to why we love these type of cars, and how ludicrous they may be at times, but just what a lovely place it is to be. I've got an enormous amount of carbon on the trims throughout, and I've got actual real leather. These are Napa leather exclusive seats, which are really quite good. You have to go right up the kind of line of specification in order to get the proper Napa leather seats. Got the leather on the top of the dash as well. This flat bottom AMG steering wheel with the suede finish on the sides. You have to be a little bit careful with those, because this one in particular was really quite grimy and dirty when it come in, but you can get them to clean up well with the right products and stuff. I've got Harman Kardon sound system. I've got the opening panoramic roof, 360-degree cameras with the lovely LED command sound system, heated and ventilated massage seats, like all of these things that you would have in your car if you really, really wanted to be in it. And of course, when it's an AMG product, I feel like you do. You're not necessarily scrimping out thinking, oh no, I won't get that because of this, or no, I don't need that, it's just a car to get me from A to B. This is a true experience of a thing to drive, and I have to say, I've driven it a couple of times over the last few days. It really is tremendous, and you're best not thinking about the fuel consumption when driving one of these, but you don't mind it when you're doing it, certainly as I am now, and you're driving down some lovely country roads, the sun's just setting on a nice evening. Unfortunately, there is a little bit of traffic around, because these roads are normally fantastic for a bit of fun. But even then, it's still such a nice place to be, and you don't mind just cruising along. And then when you do put your foot down, when you found a little bit of road that's allowing you to do so, that V8 just roars into life at 585 brake horsepower. Just, if it's indecent asking it to do what it does. The 0 to 62 time in this car is like 4.2 seconds. It's huge. The car is massive, and you're getting it to move from standstill to 62 mile an hour in 4.2 seconds, all with that massive lump out the front. Just what an absolutely incredible bit of engineering. So yeah, I did buy it, and I thought, someone's going to love it. Someone's going to be an absolute Petrolhead, and it's going to have all the specification that they want, and they're going to love the colour of the interior, and the exterior is in a nice metallic grey. It's got the intelligent LED light system. It's got everything kind of thrown at it because of the AMG exclusivity of it. So I think there's two elements of it. I think there's an element of performance, definitely, but then I think the other element is the actual quality of the car, the finish and everything like that Mercedes-Benz offers in their AMG products. It kind of just makes it stand head and shoulders above the rest of their lineup. That's my personal opinion. When it does come to MPGs, I mean, they reckon you're probably going to get 24 as a combined average. I'm yet to see that number, and I haven't necessarily been absolutely hooning it around all of the time. I think when I was bringing this back up from Cornwall, where I bought it from, I was averaging about 19 miles to the gallon, which I appreciate isn't great. But if you're not going to do your main, 40,000 miles a year in this car, and you don't do that many miles, but you want something that's tremendous fun and fantastic, feels great to be in, then why wouldn't you have one of these? I mean, they are unfortunately being phased out. That's the honest truth. We all know it. The V8 engine will cease to exist at some point. Even now, I mean, they still produce V8 engines, but there has to be a hybrid element to it, and I'm not against that by any means. I think a hybrid element, if it gives you that much more of an MPG while still being able to run a V8 engine, because obviously their later ones are 4 litres, and then they've got in Audi the 2.9 V6s and things with hybrid tech, and I'm all for a bit of hybrid, certainly not all for the full electric, because you definitely lose a lot of the character of the car. This is an enormous characteristic car, this SUV, and just, yeah, I mean, I am kind of, in awe of it, just because it's so cool. Okay, so we're going to get around this roundabout and do a little bit of a sprint up the hill. Put it into sport mode down here. I've got these dials, which also opens up the exhaust nose as well. Get to the speed sign. Oh my goodness. That is so impressive. There is not much of a lag at all. The throttle's nice and responsive. The steering's fantastic. I feel ever so well planted, almost as if it would be on rails, as the common phrase is. Just what an absolute beast of a car. And don't get me wrong, the same engine that you'd find in the C63s, the E63s and everything like that is also tremendous. But in this, I think because, I'm so used to driving my car, which is a Land Rover Defender and other Range Rovers and stuff like that, I enjoy being higher up on the road in an actual seating position. I don't necessarily enjoy being sat on the floor as I feel like I am in certain cars. So this is a real good mix of having that massive monstrous V8 to be able to give that kind of performance in a four-wheel drive element as well. And I think that also is a big part of it. It's the fact that it's putting all of that power to all four corners rather than just the rear wheels, means that I'm not hesitant in the sense that I think I'm going to end up in the bush over there or anything like that, because I feel like the car can handle it, and I'm confident in the car's ability to kind of put it through its paces a little bit. Just what a tremendous performing engine that is, alongside the obviously the gearbox and everything like that. And when you put it into Sport and Sport Plus, you can change the adaptability of your gear changes, and you can also on this one here again, part of that exclusivity side of things, you can change the stiffness of your suspension dampeners, and I've got adjustable height because it's obviously on the adjustable dampers. I've got heated seats, ventilated seats. I've got all of the 360 cameras, which are very impressive. It's a very good, clear image. None of the buttons are worn or anything like that. It's albeit now, what is it now? It's going to be, so 2007, it's nearly 8 years old, this car, and it doesn't feel a day past new. Everything in it just feels really quite solid. There's no nasty creaks or anything on it, and I just think they really put a little bit more kind of conscious effort into an AMG product over what they do in their other products, that even if you weren't into the massive V8 that it has, and most people are when they come to these type of cars, I think you'd still enjoy being in it just for the build quality and the kind of the sense of where you're sitting. I could do miles and miles in this car. I just need an enormous bank account in order to do it, because as I say, it isn't that friendly to your wallet. Even the servicing costs are going to be more than your ordinary 3-litre diesel car. I appreciate that, but just what a tremendous place to be. I've got the the Distronic cruise control as well. It's and that's really quite easy to set up. Keyless entry, keyless start. That Harman Kardon system's very, very good. 3-zone climate control, heated rear seats as well. It just, honestly, the more I sit in it, the more I think, yeah, I probably should have this for a minute, but it doesn't make financial sense for me to do it, I'm afraid, especially because I've got 2 border collies that being in this, I think would ruin the car, unfortunately. But just, yeah, I think it's absolutely wonderful as a place to be. The only bad thing about it is the fact that because they're trying to phase it out, it will be a more expensive car to run, because obviously petrol's not necessarily cheap here within the UK. Insurance cost will be slightly higher because it has the performance capabilities that it does, and unfortunately the tax is also quite high because it's a 5.5 litre V8. But that is really the only downside to it. If you're willing to put your hand in your pocket and pay for those things, I don't think you can get much more of a performance SUV than one of these. You might get a slightly more fuel efficient one, but then you'd have to pay more for it if you used to go for a later version with the 4 litre V8. They are a tremendous engine. We've had a couple of those as well, not in the GLE format, but in with the C-Class format, and they're tremendous fun. And then obviously the 4 litre then come across to their GLs and the G classes as well. So yeah, other than that, it's just wicked. Just yeah, nothing more to it. I've got lane assist as well. Every time I go near a lane, the steering wheel starts to vibrate slightly. It's got all of the driver's assistance packs and everything like that, because when people are trying to buy these cars new, they want all of the toys. So when you're looking for one, they're normally spec'd pretty well. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed just this absolutely ludicrous thing in review, and please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. The numbers are growing and I really do appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you for the next one. Thank you.